old are you?
17.
And how long have you been 17?
His lips twitched as he stared at the road. A while, he admitted at last. Oh my gosh. It's been quite a long time since we've recorded.
For like 2 months?
Yeah.
It's been a
Yeah.
while. Maybe
I
more.
know that because I got billed for Zoom and I was like, fuck. I didn't.
We gotta record. Here we are. It's been a busy 2 months.
It
There's
has
been
been.
a lot going on
Oh my gosh.
just in the world, in our
Mhm.
lives.
Mhm.
A lot.
A
But
lot.
we're back and we're excited.
Yay! I'm so excited. Honestly, I'm so motivated. I will just give a shout out to the few people who have shown support. Like it's just really cool and it just makes me feel excited to keep going. I went to a halfway Halloween party last night.
Oh,
Um and there was a girl there named Anne Marie. She was just like, well, I'm gonna listen, so I look forward to the next episode. And I am just like, gotta keep going, gotta keep going.
so we're here. We're excited. Bia, do you
Very
want to tell the
excited.
people what we are?
Oh my God. I'm Bia,
I'm Katie,
live
live
from New
from New
England.
England.
It's Twilight
Mhm.
tonight. Bow, 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 bow.
Wow. Okay. So welcome back, everybody. We are
Welcome
on
back.
chapter 9.
Right now, we're reading Twilight by Stephenie Meyer, the first book of the Twilight Saga. Ah! If you like this episode, make sure you show some love wherever you're listening. Why, what are you guys drinking during this episode?
What did you guys have for dinner last night?
Oh my God, wait. What did you have for dinner? I just had various little snacks at a. Well, you know what? I went to this Halloween party, and usually during Halloween, I'm like, okay, it's Halloween. Like, I really need to, like, I can't eat a whole bunch of candy. Like, I need to pace myself. But since it was a halfway Halloween, I was like, it's okay. I can have a Twix bar and two cookies and then an ice cream sundae. Like, I was like,
As much candy as I want. Yeah.
yeah, full-size candy bars at this fancy party. So
Amazing.
that's what I had for dinner last night. Just a bunch of candy.
Mm. Does your
Yeah.
stomach hurt just a little?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Um, I
What did
had
you have?
I had a burger and some fries from a delicious little bar that I love in Boston. So we went there,
Mm.
got some yummy, a delicious little burger. It
Mm.
was like at like 11 o'clock, so I don't know if we can call that dinner, but it was my dinner. So what did you guys have
PM?
for dinner last night? Yeah, 11
Okay.
p.m.
Okay. Okay.
Dinner at 11 a.m.?
I was just like, well, like I was like, yeah, I would count that as dinner because it's nighttime. But I was like, well,
It's just so late.
it is late. You're right. It's a little midnight snack dinner.
Anyway,
Um,
Bia,
any yes.
if you were a, if a twi if you had to if you were a Twilight character, fuck, how did we say it? Sorry, this is
Uh,
crazy.
um,
Um,
the lighting was just a little bit funny, and I thought
mhm.
maybe using the back camera would be nice, but
It
now
looks
I feel like I see all my
crisp.
pores.
I think it looks great. I can't see your pores. Your skin looks beautiful.
Thanks. What? That's so sweet. I wasn't fishing for compliments, but I really do
Oh, that's
appreciate
okay. You can if you want. I'll
it.
give them.
Katie, since we haven't recorded for a super freaking long time, literally I remember in the last episode where you were like, we're in the egg crisis or something like
The
that.
bird flew.
We're in the bird flu. We're still in the bird flu. Eggs are still very expensive. And now there's there's more things that are expensive also, but I won't
And
get into
now there's a trade war.
it.
No trade war. No, I'm kidding. Fuck the trade war. Okay, anyway, that's all I have to say on that.
There you go. So Katie, if you had a one or two or even three Twilight characters that represent the past insanity, who would you pick?
So I'm actually just gonna focus on last night, if that's okay.
That's
So
perfect.
So I was out last night, like I said, I went to a bar, got a delicious burger. It was it was a beautiful day in Boston yesterday. It was like 80 degrees. It was a little cloudy, but that's okay. Hung out outside all day. We finished the night with a burger. Walking from my friend's apartment to the bar, I'm wearing my brown Mary Janes.
Mm.
Okay. I've had these shoes for years. I've worn them dozens and dozens of times. I've
Oh my God.
never had an issue with them. They're very comfortable. I walk around in them. Okay. Walking on a sidewalk I've walked on many, many, many times. It
Oh my
is,
God.
it's a Boston sidewalk, so it's not perfect.
It's
It,
cobblestones.
it wasn't a perfect sidewalk cover. I'm pretty sure this was a pretty flat part of the sidewalk, if I'm being honest with you. I just go down. Okay. So
Oh.
let me set the scene. Okay. In my, like I said, brown Mary Janes, I take a step on my left foot. Instead of stepping flat, I go right on that side of my foot,
Oh.
right on the outside. Okay. Usually I can save myself. I'm a clumsy person. I've been clumsy my whole life.
Mm,
I've
mm.
gotten very good at, tripping and not falling, like, saving myself. There was no saving myself, okay? It was too far gone
Oh.
and I tuck and rolled. I literally tuck and rolled. My friends were very impressed. They were like, "You went down so gracefully." Okay, I tuck and rolled and I didn't put my stupid little wrists out, okay? I did it with my arm. And it was pretty good. I don't have any scrapes. I did have jeans on, luckily, so I didn't like scrape up my knees. However, I stand up. My foot hurts like a tiny bit, but I can still walk on it. I'm chilling. We go to the bar. Okay. I walk to the bus. I take the bus home. I walk almost a mile back to my house on this fucking foot. Okay. I sit down on the couch for a bit. I get up and I'm like, oh, my foot hurts a little bit, but
Oh my
okay.
God, no.
So I try to like prop it up while I'm sleeping. I put a little pillow at the end of the bed and I put my foot on it, try my best. It's barely propped up if we're being honest. I wake up this morning, my foot hurts so bad. So to say that I
No.
feel like Bella, not to spoil anything, but I feel like Bella at the end of this book, okay? I didn't break my foot. I don't think it's broken. It's not even that swollen. I think I bruised it or something.
Wait, at the end of the book? At the end of this chapter?
At the end of the book.
At the end of the book? What happens? Does she break her? Oh yeah. That's so funny. I forget. Yeah.
I feel like Bella, I'm sorry I'm skipping ahead, but I feel like
No,
Bella
but
injured Bella.
honestly, even in the last chapter, she fell or I don't know, when she was at the beach, she fell, right? And he comments in this chapter about her little scraped up hands and
Yeah,
oh, Katie Bella.
so I feel like Bella and my foot hurts. And now I can't go
Oh,
walk to the park. I'm gonna have to limp to the park today because it's a beautiful day.
oh.
So yeah, I'm a little bummed, but I'm like, I think it's all gonna be okay.
You probably just sprained it
Yeah.
and you just got to keep it elevated, ice it. If you draw the ABCs with your foot, it'll make your ankle real strong and make Charlie give you a foot massage too.
And like I can do that. Like, oh, it hurts when I move it some ways, but I can move
Yeah.
it most of the ways and it's fine. So I know that
Yeah,
like
just go
it's
slow.
it's not that swollen. I know it's not broken. I know that it's like it's just a sprain or a bruise or something. So
You'll
I'm
probably
chill.
just have a gnarly bruise by tomorrow or,
Yeah, I'm low-key probably gonna take a little bit of Advil and just
mm,
take it easy. So
there you go. I
that's how
mean,
I'm feeling. But yeah, what's your character? Let's hear about your experiences over the last
oh my
3 years.
gosh. Okay. Um, this just popped into my head and listen, it's dramatic, okay, but Katie got a new job. I'm we no longer work together. And I feel like Charlie, I feel like Charlie, my girl's leaving me. It's either Renee or it's Bella. And I'm just staring out the window going, no, please. What did I do?
It is. And you know what? It's not about you, Bia. It's not
I know.
about you.
I know.
You
I'm
know?
really trying not to take it personally.
But it is
Um,
really hard. Bia sent me an 8 minute long voice memo on Friday. And it wasn't even the whole story, y'all. That was like the second part of the story, and there's still more, okay? So we did a lot of commiserating because that's just how jobs are. There's good
yeah,
parts and there's bad parts, and we would commiserate about the bad parts. And it's still gonna happen. I listened to that entire
absolutely.
8 minute voice memo and I enjoyed the whole thing. So that is to say that I loved working with Bia. It was like the joy of my life.
Oh my
You
God,
know
it was
that
so
quote,
good.
and it is from The Office, but it genuinely makes me cry. And it's like, I wish that you could know that you were in the good old days while you were in the good old days. Because
Oh
I know
my God.
in like 10 years, we're gonna be like, damn, remember when we worked together and that was the best thing ever?
That was so
And
fun.
like maybe I have like a kid or something and you have like
Oh,
a big ass dog. I don't know.
yes.
And like 7 cars.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so it is
Oh
very
my
sad though. I
gosh.
love you. I already miss working with you.
I know. I love you so much. But it was a mighty quiet week.
That's good.
Um,
I'm really glad. I'm happy for you.
mm,
And
and
you're so
definitely,
close to the summer, and your summer's gonna be so
mm,
amazing.
I'm so excited. The summertime is awesome. Yesterday it was 80 degrees here and I was blown away. I mean, we were driving with the windows down and I felt like California summer, don't fade away. That's how I
Yep.
felt.
Well, Bia, should we get into the chapter? Would you like to give us a little recap on the last chapter?
Yes, I will do my best. So, I mean, last chapter we were in Port Angeles. Bella took some wrong turns and got like
Kind
into
of.
a really scary situation. And thankfully, Edward, we will find out how he found her in this episode, but he found her and he rescued her. And she was initially going to have dinner with Jessica and Angela, but she ended up having dinner with Edward. And we get a whole bunch of information.
Edward's being vulnerable. He's being much more open than we usually get. And
Yeah.
it's very crazy. It's a good chapter. It's also a little bit different than how they do it in the book or in the movie,
Yes, it
which
is.
is very interesting. But I'm excited.
I am too.
Chapter 9, Theory.
Eerie. We start.
Bella's literally pleading to Edward, which I feel
Yes.
is so much their dynamic. Sorry, I know I'm already just like getting off on not the book, but I do think Stephenie Meyer does a good job at really establishing like there's an power imbalance in my opinion in this relationship, and it's very evident.
Yeah.
Um, but it literally starts with Bella going, "Can I ask just one more?" I pleaded as Edward accelerated much too quickly down the quiet street, which is a theme throughout this whole chapter.
Hmm.
Edward going way too fast.
Yes. He, I mean, as we learned in the previous chapter, and I mean, as a lot of you already know, Edward can read minds. And so I think he has the extra benefit of knowing what's coming ahead. That's my
Oh, like
anti-speeding
he's really percept.
PSA.
Oh, that makes. Oh my God, it's like smart cars. It's literally like smart cars because he instead of them communicating, he's just knowing what everyone's about to do. Oh my God.
Exactly.
I didn't
It's
even
like,
fucking think of that. Wow, you're a genius.
oh my God, what?
But yeah, obviously Edward, he sighs. He doesn't want to answer another fucking question because he's already been so vulnerable.
I mean, yeah.
And Bella says, "Well, you said you knew I hadn't gone into the bookstore and that I had gone south. I was just wondering how you knew that." Very valid question, Bella.
And you know what? I was like, this whole time, I didn't even think about that because I was sort of just like, oh, he was just reading people's minds and he could like see her face in people's minds. And like, I'm, that, that's just what it seemed like. Maybe like, I have no idea where that idea came from, but I just, maybe I don't think in the movie they have any sort of like, oh, it's because he said that um for the guys he like saw her in their mind and like he like it like if you knew what those guys wanted to do. And so I was just like, oh, okay, well he just read other people's minds and figured out where she was. And so I was just like, what do you mean, Bella? Like we just went over this. Like he can read minds. But
I feel like it was heavily implied, but it's also like because in the last chapter, I feel like they kind of touch on it a little bit, but I feel like this is her really clarifying, like, what's going on?
well, I guess I mean, I realize that she's aware that he can read minds. She is like one step ahead of me, and she's like, I know that you didn't read other people's minds to find me. How did you find me? And in the next page, page 180, he says, I followed your scent. And I remember that Bella smells crazy. And so he's like walking around poor Angela's just, you know, kind of crazy. She says, I couldn't really think of an acceptable response to that.
Yeah, it's honestly insane that he followed her son. And can I say something kind of crazy?
Please.
Why is that a little bit hot?
I followed your scent, girl.
So, she is stalling. She says, and then you didn't answer one of my first questions. He looks at her with disapproval. Which one? How does it work? The mind reading thing. Can you read anybody's mind, anywhere? How do you do it? Can the rest of your family? And she's just really trying to get clarification, which I understand. It's very confusing.
And she's also trying to loop it all into a one question, and she's like, "Oh no, it's just like one." Because he specifically told her, "Okay, when we get in the car, like you have to answer some questions."
And I like good for Bella.
Yeah, she says, "I felt silly asking for clarification on make believe," and I underlined make believe because I like she's right. You know, we're at a point where she hasn't seen proof, and Jacob has just blown it off as being just a story. And I don't know, I just think it's really interesting because,
It's like she's battling with herself to like still want to believe that it is make believe,
yeah,
that it's
yes,
not real,
exactly.
you know?
Exactly. God, so smart, beautiful, and smart. I can't believe it.
So obviously Edward, he says that's more than one. And I think this is funny. Bella simply intertwines her fingers and gazes at him, waiting, which that's a really good tactic. If you're trying to get info from someone, just be silent. People
Mm.
hate uncomfortable silences and they will volunteer more information than you'd think.
Oh, so sneaky. What are you, an
Yeah.
interrogator?
Well, I've watched a lot of Law and Order SVU. I would say I'm a detective.
Wow. Wow. Edward says, no, it's just me. And I can't hear anyone anywhere. I have to be fairly close. The more familiar someone's voice is, the farther away I can hear them. But still, no more than a few miles. It's a little like being in a huge hall filled with people, everyone talking at once. It's just a hum, a buzzing of voices in the background. until I focus on one voice and then what they're thinking is clear, which is pretty crazy. I don't know.
It's a
I'll
good
continue.
metaphor though. It's very
Yeah, it
makes me understand what the hell he's talking about.
absolutely. I just can't imagine like living that way, having your mind constantly like a bunch of people talking.
Bombarded.
I would
Yeah.
be so overwhelmed. He says, most of the time I tune it all out. It can be very distracting. And then it's easier to seem normal. He frowned as he said the word, when I'm not accidentally answering someone's thoughts rather than their words.
Bella asks, "Why do you think you can't hear me?"
He looked at me, his eyes enigmatic. I don't know. The only guess I have is that maybe your mind doesn't work the same way the rest of theirs do. Like your thoughts are on AM frequency and I'm only getting FM. He grinned at me, suddenly amused.
My mind doesn't work right. I'm a freak. The words bother me more than they should. And I mean, it's because he's kind of right. Like she literally says, probably because his speculation hit home. And it's just embarrassing to have that confirmed.
Yeah, she
Like,
she she says that she's always suspected as much.
and I feel like in the first couple chapters, it really sets the scene of her like feeling like an outsider, even in Phoenix, where she was fucking born and raised. Like she never really fit in. So I feel like, yeah, it does. That would suck to have something like that confirmed. It's like a gut punch, you know?
Yeah,
This
it
is
really
funny
is.
though. I hear voices in my mind, and you're worried that you're the freak. And he laughs at her as he always laughs at her.
Uh, he says, "Don't worry, it's just a theory."
That's the
Ooh,
name
they
of
say,
the chapter.
ooh. His face tightens. He brings it back to her. She looks away from his face for the first time, trying to find words. I happen to notice the speedometer. Holy crow! I shouted. Slow down!
Stephenie, I need you to let Bella curse because this shit is insane. I'm sorry. I wasn't a teenager in 2004, but I know damn well nobody, no one was saying Holy Crow. That's why she didn't have any friends in Phoenix because at her, I wouldn't be friends with someone that said that. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm too mad, but like, what the fuck?
It is so funny. I underlined Holy Crow. I will say, yesterday I had had one singular drink. I meant to say holy crap, and I guess I also meant to say holy cow, and I said holy crow. So I just
That's
want you to
super,
know that.
that's funny. Like, that's amazing. I don't think that's what happened here.
No, no, this is her second time in the book saying holy crow, so I know this is her thing.
Like, is that like a more like not a how do I say a Mormon thing? Is that like a Utah? Is that like a West Coast? Like, please drop down in the comments. Is Holy Crow a thing where you're from? And let us know where you're from because what the fuck? We're from the East Coast. Holy cow. Holy cow. Okay, but yeah. Are you looking it up?
Yes. Okay. Literally, the first like normal link is Reddit r/Twilight. Why? Why does Bella say holy crow instead of holy cow? Like, it's not even a bad word or anything.
It's not. Also, I'm sorry. Say holy shit. Like,
Holy
please.
crap, even.
Holy
Like,
crap. Holy crap. Yeah, please. Holy crap was my favorite thing to say when I was in like elementary and middle school. Maybe like later elementary school. That was a good one. But yeah, super crazy, especially when you look at the speedometer and guys, guess how fast he was going. He was not gonna think it's that fast, but he was going 100 miles an hour. Nuh-uh.
I thought it
I'm
was.
calling you out because that is fast and that is scary.
It is fast. You should only ever do it if you are in a car that can handle that sort of speed and you are in a safe, not a lot of cars nearby.
Here at
Don't go
Twilight
that sort of
tonight,
speed.
legally, we say go the speed limit. We say don't go 100 miles an hour, okay?
Don't go 100 miles per hour because you know
Yeah.
what? If you like Twilight, you probably don't know how to drive. So,
Okay, that feels a little homophobic and misogynistic. So get it in check.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
You're gonna look at me and you're gonna tell me that I'm wrong. Am I wrong?
Uh, no,
She
because
dated
you
a
know what?
vampire and she had was in a love triangle with a wolf. I really didn't really get the rhythm down there. I'm
No,
sorry.
because she, yeah, you know what? We'll get it right and then we'll mix it into a theme song. You're gonna look at me and tell me that I'm wrong. She dated a vampire and she was in a love triangle with a wolf. Am I wrong?
All right, we'll workshop it.
We'll workshop it.
So
The first,
anyway, back
well,
to the book. Oh,
I'll just say really quick, she worships the Holy Crow, as soon all will.
okay. So on that note, she says Holy Crow. They're going 100 miles an hour,
She was
and
she's screaming. She's
she says the road was. Oh, she was still shouting miles an hour. The road was only visible in the long patch of bluish brightness from the headlights. The forest alongside both sides of the road was like a black wall, as hard as a wall of steel if we veered off the road at this speed. And then he's condescending as fuck. Relax, Bella. He rolled his eyes, still not slowing.
Are you trying to kill us?
We're not going to crash.
Why are you in such a hurry?
I always strive like this. He turned to smile crookedly at me. Eyes on the road!
I've never been in an accident, Bella. I've never even gotten a ticket. Because he taps his head and he goes, built-in radar detector.
That is fucking hilarious. It's like, I'm sorry, why are they not more? They're so, both of them are way more funny in the books than they are in the movies. Why couldn't they have personalities? Why couldn't they be a little funny? I
It,
wish they were more funny.
if they were more funny, I feel like more
That's
people
funny.
would be open to Twilight. Like you really have to like look. You really have
I feel
to.
like they were I feel like they were trying to establish Twilight as like a serious, not like a serious film, but like a serious movie. Oh, it's a little scary, which I've actually never told this story, and I don't know if now's a good time. But my first like exposure to Twilight actually wasn't reading the book. When the movie first came out, I think, what was it, 2008, maybe 2007? When did it come out? I don't know. My
Yeah.
older cousin was over. She was like 5 years older than me, and obviously I wanted to impress her. She was very cool. And so she puts this movie on up in our playroom, and I shit you not, I got so scared within the first like couple minutes because you know how in the first couple minutes
Oh
there's like that
yeah.
creepy the scene with the like
Mm.
vampires, and I like literally ran out of the room like crying because I was like, this is so scary. And then literally like I think a year and a half later, 2 years later, I don't know exactly the timeline, I had a babysitter who was like, oh my God, I love Twilight. And then I read the book and I was, deep into it. But yeah,
Oh my
the movie. So
God.
I think they were trying to make it a little creepy, a little scary. And that's why they
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to add any. I just, they had neither of those characters had much personality
No.
in the book or in the movies. And I don't know. I
There's
love that. I
so
think it's so
much in the
funny.
book, and
Yeah.
it would be so awesome to have. I mean, people say this all the time, right? But it would be so awesome to just have like a verbatim, like
God, it would be so long. But
it would
yeah.
be. It. I mean, yeah. Um,
But
that's really
ultimately,
funny.
yeah.
I found out about Twilight through a trailer in a movie that I had rented from Blockbuster.
Oh.
And it was actually the New Moon trailer. And I saw the wolves and I was like, that looks awesome. Like I want to
I,
watch that.
I want in
And
on that.
exactly. And I watched the first one and I was like, where the fuck are the wolves?
Wait, that's really funny. All right. So she's like very funny. She's a little mad. Charlie's a cop, remember? I was raised to abide by traffic laws. Besides, if you turn us into a Volvo pretzel around a tree trunk, you can probably just walk away.
Probably, he agreed with a short, hard laugh. But you can't. He sighed, and I watched with relief as the needle gradually drifted towards 80.
Like it really took her explicitly pointing that out for him to be like, "Oh, yeah, I guess you would die if we got in a car accident."
Literally.
Fucking stupid, Edward. Okay. And then he's sassy about it. He goes, "Happy?"
And
And
he
then he
says
mutters,
he says he hates driving slow.
like, I'm sorry, he's how old? 100 and something? Fucking grow up. Yeah. So they're just, and he says, enough commentary on my driving after she's like, this is slow. Oh my God. And then he says, I'm still waiting for your latest theory.
Theory.
Name of the movie, name of the chapter, name
Ooh.
of the chapter.
Ooh. She bites her lip. He looked down at me, his honey eyes unexpectedly gentle. I won't laugh, he promised.
I'm more afraid that you'll be angry with me.
Is it that bad?
Pretty much, yeah.
She looks down at her hands so that she can't see his face. He says, go ahead.
I don't know where to start.
Why don't you start at the beginning? You said that you didn't come up with this on your own.
No,
What got you started? A book? A movie?
no. It was Saturday at the beach. She looks up at him. She risks a glance at his face, and he looks a little confused.
Confused.
I ran into an old family friend, Jacob Black. His dad and Charlie have been friends since I was a baby. His dad is one of the Quaalude elders. And then Edward's just like confused throughout all of this. Right when he says or right when she says Quaalude, though, his expression freezes in place. We went for a walk and he was telling me some old legends, trying to scare me, I think. He told me one
Go on.
about vampires. Oh, wait, about vampires.
She was whispering and she couldn't look at his face, but she saw his knuckles tighten convulsively on the wheel. And you immediately thought of me?
No, he mentioned your family.
And Edward's just silent. He's staring at the road.
And then Bella wants to kind of protect Jacob. She says, he just thought it was a silly superstition. He didn't expect me to think anything of it. It was my fault. I forced him to tell me. Because obviously, as we remember, Bella was flirting. She even
Hmm.
says up at the top, she says, I edited out all my scheming out of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure if Edward knew that she was flirting with him to get the information, that would not be good. And he goes, why?
Lauren said something about you. She was trying to provoke me. And an older man in the tribe said your family didn't come to the reservation. Only it sounded like he meant something different. So I got Jacob alone and I tricked it out of him.
He startled me by laughing. I glared up at him. He was laughing, but his eyes were fierce, staring ahead. Tricked him how?
I tried to flirt. It worked better than I thought it would.
I'd like to have seen that. He chuckled darkly. Ha ha. And you accuse me of dazzling people. Poor Jacob Black. Which is truly how I feel. I truly feel very sad for Jacob. Poor Jacob.
Yeah, she really started a whole thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, so then Edward asks,
What did you do then?
I did some research on the internet.
And did that convince you? His voice sounded barely interested, but his hands were clamped hard onto the steering wheel.
No, nothing fit. Most of it was kind of silly. And then I decided it didn't matter. Oh, wait. I decided it didn't matter.
It didn't matter. His tone made me look up. I had finally broken through his carefully composed mask. His face was incredulous, with just a hint of the anger I'd feared.
No, it doesn't matter to me what you are.
A hard, mocking edge entered his voice. You don't care if I'm a monster? If I'm not human?
No. He was silent, staring straight ahead again. His face was bleak and cold. You're angry. I shouldn't have said anything.
No, he said, but his tone was as hard as his face.
All right. Dirty joke number one. You only get three an episode.
I'd rather know what you're thinking, even if what you're thinking is insane.
So that's like first number thing of him. I feel like not first number thing. I feel like that's that is, I feel like another time where he's kind of really like letting us know he doesn't know what the fuck she's thinking, like he does with everybody else, and then it drives him a little bit crazy. I feel like he mentions that a couple times, and I don't know. I feel like I've seen a theory online about how like why he was so interested in Bella. Obviously, like new student, whatever, the scent of it all. But part of it is just like I want to know what this bitch is thinking because she's the only one that I don't know. And I feel like
Yeah.
that would intrigue anybody. So I can't really blame them, but I feel like because that does explain like why obviously it explains why out of all of these girls that he's met throughout his life that this is the one that grabs onto him. So I don't
Yeah.
know. Very interesting.
Absolutely. It's very interesting. It's really weird. What a weird freaking book. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna cut that out. So he says that what she's thinking is insane. He wants to know what she's thinking.
Yeah. So I'm wrong again.
That's not what I'm referring to. It doesn't matter. He gritted his teeth together.
I'm right. She gasped.
Does it matter?
Not really, but I am curious. Oh wait, her voice was composed. Mine was kind of not composed, but
Fuck it.
God, I'm sorry. We're so giggly this episode.
I'm just so happy to see you, Katie. Oh my God.
It's been a week.
He was suddenly resigned. What are you curious about?
How old are you?
17.
17.
And how long have you been 17?
His lips twitched as he stared at the road.
Oh,
A while, he admitted at last.
Okay. I smiled, pleased that he was still being honest with me.
Okay.
He stared down at me with watchful eyes, much as he had before when he was worried I would go into shock. I smiled wider in encouragement and he frowned. I'm sorry, this is so funny. She's like, fucking finally, bro. I fucking knew it. She's just like, okay. Okay. Yeah, that cracks me up. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna break it up real quick and just say that now we get into some pretty cool questions of figuring. I mean, now he's admitted he's a vampire,
Yeah,
basically. And
basically. We're getting rapid fire.
yeah. So pretty cool. We'll just rapid fire through it. Yeah, sounds good. So
Don't laugh, but how can you come out during the daytime?
haha. Myth.
Burned by the sun?
Myth.
Sleeping in coffins?
Myth. He hesitated for a moment, and a peculiar tone entered his voice. I can't sleep. Sorry.
I can't sleep.
I can't I can't sleep.
No, no, it's Dracula voice. I can't sleep. I
I
can't.
can't if I can't
I
sleep.
can't. I
If I
can't
can't
sleep.
sleep. I don't know. I sound German a little bit. I can't
I
I
can
can't
sleeper.
sleep.
Okay, this is probably like deeply offensive on like a lot of levels.
If you're German, that's okay.
We're just stupid
You've got
Americans.
some
Actually,
good cookies, probably.
yeah. Okay. Anyway,
I can't sleep.
took her a minute to absorb that at all.
Never. His voice was nearly inaudible, but I'm not going to do it. Never.
And then his golden eyes look at her. She loses her train of thought. He's driving. Look at the road. It's stressing me out.
You haven't asked me the most important question yet.
Which one is that?
You aren't concerned about my diet? He asked sarcastically.
Oh, that.
Yes, that. His voice was bleak. Don't you want to know if I drank blood?
Well, Jacob said something about that.
What did Jacob say?
He said you didn't hunt people. He said your family wasn't supposed to be dangerous because you only hunted animals.
He said we weren't dangerous.
Not exactly. He said you weren't supposed to be dangerous, but the Quaaludes still didn't want you on their land, just in case.
He looked forward, but I couldn't tell if he was watching the road or not.
So he was right? About not hunting people. Bella's trying to be chill. She says, I tried to keep my voice as even as possible. Because I mean, this is like it's a little bit of a crazy convo.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
I do feel like this would put me because I feel like at the top of the page, they're like, oh, myth, sleeping in coffins, ha ha ha. And then you get to like, are you killing people, basically? Which is,
Yeah.
that's just like, I feel like that's a very quick switch up from like kind of the goofy, like, oh, don't laugh, ha ha ha. Can you come out in the daytime to like, so you don't eat people? You don't suck their blood or whatever the fuck. Yeah, crazy.
And I will say, I do think that this is one scene that I really did like the way that they did this in the movie, like when they're out in the woods and like he's describing all of this and she looks so pained and she's just like, "Oh my God." Like
I feel like it's a little goofy at points.
it is goofy. I don't know. Like
Like, I remember the first time I watched that movie before, not before, but like whenever they just like walked out into the woods, I remember being like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I feel like they
yes.
went from the like them and the him saving her, like the big dramatic, from last chapter to them just like walking into the woods. And that was always very like jarring and confusing for me. So I think like I like that they did it that way. I think it made it much more like dramatic and like more like cinematic, But I
Yes.
feel like this makes a little bit more, it just feels more realistic,
Yes.
Yeah.
This definitely feels more realistic. Maybe I just prefer the dialogue in the movie, like when he says, instead of asking her like what's my diet, he goes, let me ask you something. What do we eat? And she's like, "Oh, I don't care." Like, but and I mean, I guess we've already gone through that. Like she's saying like it doesn't matter and he's like, I don't know. I feel like that scene it had a lot more tension than this one does. But
They make it much more concise in the movie as well. Like
yes, yeah.
this is a long drawn out conversation, obviously,
Yeah.
as we're going through it. Anyway, so he was right about not hunting people.
The Quaaludes have a long memory. Oh, he whispered that. The Quaaludes have a long memory.
I took it as a confirmation.
Don't let that make you complacent, though, he warned me. They're right to keep their distance from us. We are still dangerous.
I don't understand.
We try, he explained slowly. We're usually very good at what we do. Sometimes we make mistakes. Me, for example, allowing myself to be alone with you. Hot.
This is a mistake. I heard the sadness in my voice, but I didn't know if he could as well.
A very dangerous one.
We were both silent then. She's watching headlights.
I was aware of the time slipping away so quickly, like the black road beneath us, and I was hideously afraid that I would never have another chance to be with him like this again. Openly, the walls between us gone for once. His words hinted at an end, and I recoiled from the idea. I couldn't waste 1 minute I had with him. Tell me more, I asked desperately, not caring what he said, just so I could hear his voice again. She is like,
She's again that like desperation, that pleading that we had at
yeah,
the beginning of the chapter, where it's like I feel like we get a lot of these like adjectives where it's like, or I guess not, now pleaded is a verb, but we get a lot of like desperate, like those descriptive
yeah.
words of like she truly is like she's got that big fat crush on him,
Oh, yeah,
you know?
absolutely. He says, what more do you want to know?
Tell me why you hunt animals instead of people. Again, her voice still tinged with desperation. I realized my eyes were wet, and I fought against the grief that was trying to overpower me.
I don't want to be a monster. His voice was very low.
But animals aren't enough.
I can't be sure, of course, but I'd compare it to living on tofu and soy milk. We call ourselves vegetarians, our little inside joke. But it doesn't completely satiate the hunger, or rather, thirst. But it keeps us strong enough to resist, most of the time. Sometimes it's more difficult than others.
Is it very difficult for you now?
Yes.
But you're not hungry now. I said confidently, stating, not asking.
Why do you think that?
Your eyes. I told you I had a theory. I've noticed that people, men in particular, are crabbier when they're hungry.
And I think this is just like like a weird statement. Like her whole theory was like the his eyes change color when he's
When he's hungry.
fed.
I don't know why the fuck she said it like that.
Like what do you mean men in particular get hangry? Like what the f like
Well, I feel like it kind of plays into like them being evasive about all of this kind of and like not stating
mm.
as exactly as they are. But I don't like the way that this was said. I don't like it.
It was weird. It was weird. He chuckled. You're observant, aren't you?
This next line, again, just she's obsessed with this dude. I
Mhm.
didn't answer. I just listened to the sound of his laugh, committing it to memory. Were you hunting this weekend with Emmett? I asked when it was quiet again.
Yes. He paused for a second, as if deciding whether or not to say something. I didn't want to leave, but it was necessary. It's a bit easier to be around you when I'm not thirsty.
Why didn't you want to leave?
It makes me anxious to be away from you. His eyes were gentle but intense, and they seemed to be making my bones turn soft, which is a weird thing. I don't know. I underlined that. I feel like I've never heard that before. I wasn't joking when I asked you not to try to fall into the ocean or get run over last Thursday. I was distracted all weekend, worrying about you. And after what happened tonight, I'm surprised that you did make it through the whole weekend unscathed. He shook his head and then seemed to remember something. Well, not totally unscathed.
What?
Your hands, he reminded me.
Oh, and then yeah, she looks down at her palms. She sees a bunch of kind of almost healed scrapes on the heels of her hands, as we all, you brace yourself. I fell.
Unless you tuck and roll.
Oh, yep, unless you tuck and roll, guys. Like I said, I've got nothing here. You see that?
Boom.
Beautiful heels of my palms.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
She says that she fell.
And he smiles a little bit and he says, that's what I thought. I suppose being you, it could have been much worse. And that possibility tormented me the entire time I was away. It was a very long 3 days. I really got on Emmett's nerves.
3 days? Didn't you just get back today?
No, we got back Sunday.
Then why weren't any of you in school? I was frustrated, almost angry as I thought of how much disappointment I had suffered because of his absence. God, the fucking desk, that's intense.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I think this small section of him saying like how anxious they're so codependent already and they haven't even like officially started dating. They haven't even kissed like
It's
and
cray
he's
cray.
like I can't be away from you. Like I'm anxious. I can't stop thinking about the fact that you're going to like jump off a cliff or whatever the fuck and well, you asked if the sun hurt me and it doesn't, but I can't go out in the sunlight. At least not where anyone can see.
Why?
I'll show you sometime.
Um, you might have called me.
Which I think is a funny way. She's like you could have called me, but you might have called
You
me.
might have called me.
Why are we so proper here? He was puzzled, but I knew you were safe.
But I didn't know where you were. I
What?
I didn't like it not seeing you. It makes me anxious too. Bruh. That is crazy. That's crazy. They've been on what, one date? He hated her for the first like 6 weeks.
Yeah, they've seen
This,
each other like a handful of times maximum.
guys, if you're in high school and you're listening to this and you meet a boy and he makes you feel like this, it's not good. This is not good. This is toxic. You just have to say like that, like he'll make you a little nervous, but like, okay, I don't know. That's cray cray.
No, this is beyond. I mean, if you're feeling anxious when people go away, like unless they're going on like a dangerous trip or like something of that sort, like
It's just a lot for
yeah,
how little they know each other, in my
it
opinion.
is. They've only talked like 3 times.
Like successfully. Like they've actually like I feel
Like
like they've had little conversations, but like this is the first, like she said, this is the first time he's ever like let his guard down.
yeah.
How are you like already codependent? Whatever. It's impressive. The speed is actually impressive.
It's wild. There's
Um,
lesbians and then there's vampires.
and you know what? Exactly. Also, Edward is kind of like aware that this is too much. He was quiet. I glanced up, apprehensive, and saw his expression was pained.
Ah, this is wrong.
What did I say?
Don't you see, Bella? It's one thing for me to make myself miserable, but it's a wholly other thing for you to be so involved. He turned his anguished eyes towards the road, his words flowing almost too fast for me to understand. I don't want to hear that you feel that way. His voice was low, but urgent. His words cut me. It's wrong. It's not safe. I'm dangerous, Bella. Please grasp that.
No. I tried very hard not to look like a sulky child.
I'm serious. Arrgh.
I
He
hate that.
growled.
I hate when they say he growled in any context. Even in like, like a sexy moment in a book. I don't want to hear he growled in my ear. I
He
don't want that shit.
he purred. He purred in my ear.
No, I don't want
I don't
anything
want
that's gonna
that.
remind me of an animal. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So he says, I'm serious. And she says, so am I. I told you, it doesn't matter what you are. It's too late.
Never say that.
I bit my lip and was glad he couldn't know how much that hurt. I stared out at the road. We must be close now. He was driving much too fast. So again, she's like very aware of how little time she has with him and how fast he's going and how it's literally just like it's like disappearing the amount of time that they have or whatever. So
Yeah.
she's just very aware.
This is all just so upsetting. What are you thinking? He asked. His voice was still raw. Damn, what? Okay, that's number two.
And it wasn't even a good one, I have to say. I think he wasted that. Sorry, not to be like unsupportive, but
Oh man, who knows?
who knows what'll happen in the next couple pages.
Had that first one in the bag.
It was good. It was good.
Are you crying? He sounded appalled. I hadn't realized the moisture in my eyes had brimmed over. I quickly rubbed my hands across my cheek, and sure enough, traitor tears were there, betraying me.
No, I said, but my voice cracked.
This broke my heart. I saw him reach towards me hesitantly with his right hand, but then he stopped and placed it slowly back on the steering wheel. I'm sorry. His voice burned with regret. I know he wasn't just apologizing for the words that had upset me. Tell me something.
Yes.
What were you thinking tonight, just before I came around the corner? I couldn't understand your expression. You didn't look that scared. You looked like you were concentrating very hard on something.
I was trying to remember how to incapacitate an attacker, self-defense. I was gonna smash his nose into his brain.
Mm-mm.
I thought of the dark-haired man with a surge of hate.
You were gonna fight them? Didn't you think about running?
I fall down a lot when I run.
What about screaming for help?
I was getting to that part.
He shook his head. You were right. I'm definitely fighting fate trying to keep you alive.
We were slowing, passing into the boundaries of Forks. It had taken less than 20 minutes. Will I see you tomorrow? I demanded.
Yes, I have a paper due too. He smiled. And then he says, I'll save you a seat at lunch.
That is like number one thing you want to hear from your crush in high school.
I'm literally like, my
You
heart was
kidding me?
pounding.
Yeah. It was silly. After everything we'd been through tonight, how that little promise sent flutters through my stomach and made me unable to speak. Then
Oh
there
my
in front of
God.
Charlie's house, everything just looking utterly normal. It was like walking from a dream, or it was like waking from a dream. He stopped the car, but I didn't move. Do you promise to be there tomorrow?
I promise. Hmm. She considers it for a moment and then nods. And she pulls his jacket off, taking one last whiff Ugh. And he says, "You can keep it. You don't have a jacket for tomorrow," he reminded me.
I handed it back to him. I don't want to have to explain to Charlie. So true.
Hmm. Oh, right. He grinned. And she tries to sort of take her time with coming out of the car. She's like, "Oh, okay, gonna pull this door handle now." Um, and he calls her name, Bella, in a different tone, serious but hesitant.
Yes.
"Will you promise me something?"
Yes, I said, and I instantly regretted my unconditional agreement. What if he asked me to stay away from him? I couldn't keep that promise.
"Don't go into the woods alone."
Why?
He frowned, and his eyes were tight as he stared past me out the window. "I'm not always the most dangerous thing out there. Let's leave it at that."
Dun dun dun!
And we'll think back to when Bella took her little walk and she was laying out there and she fell asleep and she felt like there was a presence there and she called out Charlie's name. This is a little bit more of that confirmation that yeah, it was Edward, definitely.
So, very scary. I
Hmm.
shuddered slightly at the sudden bleakness in his voice, but I was relieved. This at least was an easy promise to honor. Whatever you say.
"I'll see you tomorrow." He sighed, and I knew he wanted me to leave now.
Tomorrow, then. I opened the door unwillingly.
"Bella?" I turned and he was leaning towards me, his pale, glorious face just inches from mine. My heart stopped beating. "Sleep well," he said. His breath blew in my face, stunning me. It was the same exquisite scent that clung to his jacket, but in a more concentrated form. Ew.
I was gonna say, I don't want his fucking breath on me. Get the fuck away. It's also, why does your breath smell like your jacket?
Well,
Does it?
I just imagine because like he's just drinking blood and so like he's not
Um,
drinking water or like eating anything.
that's true.
Does he brush his teeth?
You want me to call him? I can ask.
Yeah.
Okay, so blah 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 blah
She's
blah blah blah. Let's see.
she's dazed. She was unable to move until her brain had somewhat unscrambled itself, and she steps out of the car awkwardly. Eh.
Awkward.
And she uses the frame for support, and she's pretty sure that she hears him chuckle, but you know, it's quiet. So anyway,
He's probably chuckling. That bitch loves to laugh at her.
facts. He loves a good chuckle too. He waited until I had stumbled to the front door, and then I heard his engine quietly rev. I turned to watch the silver car disappear around the corner. I realized it was very cold. And she unlocks the door, steps inside, and Charlie's like, "Bella?" And she's like, "Yeah, Dad, it's me." And he's watching a baseball game. And he tells her that she's home early. And she's like, "What? Am I?" And it's not even 8 yet. Um, didn't they go after school? Oh, I guess that's a pretty long time after school. Or is this a weekend? I don't know. I forget.
The weekend, but honestly, I have no idea. But yeah, she has to kind of conjure up what she had originally told him. So she talks about the dresses. They both found dresses. And obviously she looks a little bit shooken up, a little bit, tired. So he's like, "Oh, you're all right?" And all she says is, "I just did a little walking," which, like, I kind of get it, but it is sad that she feels like she couldn't tell him about basically almost being attacked.
I know,
I know that
right?
she'd then have to explain, like, "Oh, Edward, like, blah, 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 blah." Like, I get why, but
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just like, it is so scary what she went through. And I feel like she does not acknowledge it properly at all.
Yeah.
It is kind of crazy, even in like the car ride with Edward, when he's like, "Dude, you just got like almost attacked. Like, why are you acting so fucking chill?" So,
Yeah. It's really
it's
sad.
crazy.
I, I'll psychoanalyze her for a second and say that with her mom, she
She's
needs
always
to be
taking.
she needs to be so aware of, you know, how she's behaving. And you know what? Just a quick little tangent also. I am not even that long. I'm reading Jeanette McCurdy's book,
Mhm.
and it's so good. And
Yeah.
it really, yeah, like
I just
Bella censors herself a lot.
She censors herself a lot, but I also feel like Bella has always had to take care of herself. So it's like,
Hmm.
why would I share this? I'm just gonna figure it out on my own.
Exactly.
Poor Bella.
And she almost blows her cover a little bit.
God.
He, Charlie says, well, maybe you should go lie down. And she says, I'm just going to call Jessica first. And he's like, weren't you just with her? Like, didn't she just drop you off? And she was like, oh, yeah, but I left my jacket in her car. I want to make sure she brings it tomorrow. And he's like, well, give her a chance to get home first.
I was like,
She's
is
like,
my daughter stupid?
yeah. She's like, oh, yeah, okay, right. And then she goes into the kitchen and
The fucking phone just rings.
yeah, it's so funny and it's Jess calling her and I'm just wondering like what the fuck Charlie is thinking. Like
He's back watching the baseball game.
yeah,
He doesn't
he's
care.
not thinking. He's okay. Yeah. So,
Hello?
Bella,
Hey, Jess. I was just gonna call you.
you made it home?
Her voice was relieved and surprised. Yes, I left my jacket in your car. Could you bring it to me tomorrow?
Sure. But tell me what happened.
Tomorrow in Trig, okay?
She caught on quickly. Oh, is your dad there?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow then. Bye. I could hear the impatience in her voice. Jess loves the tea. She wants she wants that juicy
And you know
goose.
what? Day by day, I relate more and more to Jess.
I do. I do.
Yeah, I respect her. So they hang up. Bella's slowly going up the stairs, a heavy stupor clouding her mind. She's just kind of getting ready for bed, and it wasn't until she was in the shower, the water too hot, burning my skin, that I realized I was freezing. I shuddered violently for several minutes before the steaming spray could finally relax my rigid muscles. Then I stood in the shower, too tired to move, until the hot water began to run out. So this was an interesting piece to me that all of a sudden she was just freezing. I don't really understand. Like, it feels like it should be like a significant thing, but like, I don't know. I feel like we don't get much of her like being cold or being warm throughout the rest of
Yeah.
the chapter. And then all of a sudden she's just freezing. It felt weird to me. And I was trying to like maybe overanalyze it a bit. And I was like, oh, maybe she just feels so comfortable and warm with Edward because, whatever. And now without that, her body's having this anxious response and making her,
Right.
shudder and feel cold. So maybe that's me overanalyzing it, but it just felt so random for her to be like violently cold and shuddering,
That's what
It
I
was
was
weird.
thinking. No, I definitely underlined violently because that's a very graphic word. We I think you're right. It is that now she's alone and so I just imagine like this like a lone little baby in the rain like shivering like it's very weird,
Yeah.
very
Just
weird imagery.
it just felt so random to me. But and then it continues. I stumbled out, wrapping myself securely in a towel, trying to hold the heat from the water in so the aching shivers wouldn't return. Like it's like just so like it feels so graphic. But she
Yeah.
gets under the covers. A few small shudders trembled through me.
And
Um,
she curls herself into a ball. So she's just this tiny little, alone, like almost reminds me of like a deer, like where she's just like a newborn, just nobody to care for her. Like
yeah,
Charlie's just downstairs watching this baseball game and Edward has left and she's just holy fuck, maybe she's going into shock like because of what happened, and she's just now she probably was just not feeling anything because she was terrified of what just
Ooh,
happened.
that's honestly really true. And now it's all kind of settling in. Now she's alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and she says, I mean, Okay, I do have to say this next bit is like one of my favorite parts of the whole book.
Oh
Okay,
my
so
God. I need the last lines from you.
well, it's on the back. This was my
Mm,
first impression of like this. I read the back of this. I think we talked about it in our first episode. I read the
yeah.
back of this and I saw the word irrevocably and it changed my life. Okay. Anyway,
There you go. Katie, take it away.
so she does say that, her mind's swirling, full of images I couldn't understand and some I fought to repress. Nothing seemed clear at first, but as I fell gradually closer to unconsciousness, a few certainties became evident. About three things I was absolutely positive. First, Edward was a vampire. Second, there was a part of him, and I didn't know how potent that part might be, that thirsted for my blood. And third, I was unconditionally and irrevocably in love with him. Okay. Like
Oh,
literally, I have chills all over my entire body.
wow. Wow.
Wow, okay. So Miss Stephenie Meyer, no matter what I've ever said about you in my whole life, that line,
She knocked it out of the fucking
she
park.
knocked out of the fucking park. I have chills all over my whole fucking body.
Yeah, me too. Oh my gosh. And I think it's so impactful to have it be the last thought that she has before she goes to bed. Because in the movie it's she's waking up and it's right before the baseball scene. But here, yeah, she's something awful, just so awful has happened to her a couple hours ago, and the last thing on her mind is Edward.
It
And
is kind of sad though. Like I feel like as like we've said a couple times, this is not the most healthy relationship.
mm-mm.
It's like she's low key like maybe trauma bonding. I know they're not going through the same trauma, but
Like
it's like she went through
maybe,
this traumatic thing and then to have someone swoop in, I could see how you would get very attached to them. That's all.
yes.
Maybe not I don't think trauma bonding is the right word. I don't think I'm using that properly, but like I don't know. It's very interesting that like after that big thing happened, she does come to this conclusion, which I get. It has been kind of building up to it, but
Yeah.
it's a lot. That's all.
Yeah. It is a lot. It's you've got on one sort of official date and you are going home and the final thought in your head is I love him unconditionally and irrevocably.
Okay, not to like this maybe feels a little random and not to toot my own horn, but in middle school when people would like date and
Mm,
like immediately they would be like, I love you.
mm.
I even
Boy,
as
do
like
I.
so I even as like a sixth grader, I was like, you don't love him. Like you don't love you've only been dating for 2 weeks. You can't love him.
Mm.
And when I dated a boy in sixth grade, after a week, he told me he loved me and I broke up with him because I
There
said,
you go.
there's no way. Isn't that crazy?
You
Yeah.
don't know
So
me.
I just and right now I'm not it's adorable and I think it is just like a middle school thing where it's like, oh, whatever. But I just feel like it's crazy that it's so quick. That's all. But that's the fun of Twilight. The timeline is crazy.
The timeline is fucking crazy. That woman has broken it down really well. And shoot, maybe we'll get her book sometime. But yeah. Oh, well, so final thoughts.
Final thoughts, we learned so much.
Mm,
This was a lot of detail about like vampires and a lot about Edward.
mhm.
I think things are really about to pick up.
Yes, I'm so
That's what I'm excited.
excited. The next chapter is called Interrogations, which, ooh, juicy. So I'm excited. Honestly, I'm impressed at like we're in chapter 10 and we're pretty like a hefty amount. We're on page 196 now.
I
I
like the chapters have been good lengths.
yeah, yeah, it's a pretty decent amount.
Mhm.
Yeah, this chapter, my final thoughts, I just can't believe that Edward is living his like I just can't believe that he's living his whole life constantly hearing this buzz of people
Oh,
talking. Because even like having the like microwave fan on while I'm also doing the dishes, like I'll freak out. That's a nightmare. I so yeah, poor Edward. Um, but honestly, I'm really glad that Bella got some good confirmation. She got some good answers. So,
yeah, I agree. All right. Well, guys,
um,
we love
yeah.
you. Like, comment, subscribe.
No, literally, we love you. Thank you so much for the support. And just as a reminder, I'm Bia,
I'm Katie.
and this has been Twilight
Twilight
Tonight.
tonight.
Bow, bow,
If you
bow,
like
bow,
this
bow, bow,
episode, leave
bow,
a rating
bow.
wherever you're listening and
Bow,
comment below
bow,
what your
bow,
favorite part of this
bow,
chapter
bow,
was.
bow,
If you want to
bow,
follow Edward and
bow,
Bella's
bow,
romance,
bow,
subscribe to
bow,
Twilight
bow.
Tonight for more episodes.
Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, bum.